Hey, so I wanted to get a chance to chat with you guys a little bit more in depth about human design and why I started down the human design journey. I started looking into human design and studying it more consistently around 2 years ago. I've always been interested in more esoteric studies, things like chakras, energy work, astrology, that sort of thing. I am a Capricorn, Aries, Cancer. I know all of those things. I've had my chart run. I find that stuff really fascinating and interesting. I firmly believe that's still very influential. But human design came along as I was studying all of that, and it blended all of that along with quantum physics, all together kind of into this perfect symphony, if you will, of all of these different designs. And it just clicked and made sense when I looked at my chart, when I looked at the descriptions and the reading, and all of the details that were given to me along with it. And after doing my own human design chart reading with a practitioner, it just clicked for me. And it didn't seem like it was such a intangible idea, if you will. It seemed really concrete and clear, and it made sense for me. And it made sense in the way that things had played out in my life so far, and inside of what my hopes and dreams were and the impact that I hope to have in the future. And so I started studying a little bit more seriously and seeing how the really appealing part to me was the idea of living in alignment with your authentic self. I'll say that again because it was so profound for me. Living in alignment with your authentic self. There's nothing about human design that's necessarily religious in nature or anything along those lines. It's just really about aligning your energies, and that really hit for me. And so that's why I continued more of an in-depth study into human design. I want to give you guys a brief overview of human design and what that looks like, but I also wanted you to understand where I was coming from with it. So I had struggled with some mental health things ever since graduating from high school, probably prior to that, but my life was so busy and crazy in high school that I didn't have time to notice almost. And after graduating and life slowed down as I went on to college and then real world life, that kind of thing, I started dealing with a lot of depression, anxiety issues that I didn't necessarily want to solely rely on medication or therapy for. And so I started seeking out lifestyle changes that I could make to impact that area of my life. And diet and exercise were profoundly important in that journey. But in addition to it, spirituality, self-improvement, personal development was a key component that really made a difference for me inside of just how I framed my view of what mental health is and how it played a role in my life, whether or not it was going to define who I was and become my primary personality trait, or if it was just going to be something that I had the opportunity to master and manage, just like so many other challenges that we face in life. And part of that evolution was becoming more spiritually aware of my energy and how I interacted with the world and how I allowed the world's influence to impact me. And along that journey, I discovered human design. And like I said, it hit for me so hard. So I want to get an opportunity to share that wisdom with other people, but kind of in my own special, unique to me way. So I'll give you guys an overview, but I really wanted you to hear from me how that came to be about. So let's get into human design specifically, right? Human design was founded in 1987, in January of 1987, which is also when I was born. So I feel like that's an alignment right there. It was founded by a man named Ra Uru Hu. He had a spiritual awakening in Ibiza and got this vision of the synthesis of modern wisdom, modern science, astrology, the I Ching from China, Kabbalah from Judaic mysticism, the chakra system, quantum physics, all of it coming together to form this beautiful picture that is human design and the human design system. And it's a tool specifically for self-discovery and self-awareness, and it's designed to help individuals live in alignment, again, with their true nature or their authentic self. The purpose of it is to guide people in making decisions and reduce resistance and stress. When we're in alignment and we're living as our true selves, even the hard stuff, we know what to do. We can trust our instincts, we can trust our design, we can hear our inner voice telling us what the right thing for us is. And that's really what human design allows us to do, is kind of clear away the clutter, the sound, the distractions, and really listen to our inner voice. And it can be applied to a lot of different aspects of life, your health and wellness, which is obviously something that I'm really passionate about and applying to your career, your relationships, personal growth, your interactions with friends and family, your children, if you have children, even pets and plants, and your business has its own human design chart. If you have a business or a career, that kind of thing, which I think is really amazing. So many ways that it can be applicable to our lives. Let's go over a few of the basics of human design. So you've heard me probably reference a few times now your human design chart. What the heck is that? You're going to find a link below each of these videos, or in this long video, or however you're looking at this. You're going to find a link to be able to go onto my site and for free run your human design chart. You're going to need a few pieces of information to do this. Your human design chart is called a body graph, and it's a visual representation of your unique human design. And you're going to need things like your birth date, the time you were born, the place that you were born. All of these things align to have an imprint of the planet's energies specific to your time, place, and location of birth, right? And so it's really important that you have those accessible to you when you go to run your chart, because that's what's going to tell everything where everything's going to go inside of your body graph. There are a few components, main components to your chart. There's the 9 energy centers, which when you see it visually represented are going to probably remind you of the chakras. That's going to be the most familiar vernacular that you're going to see in there. Some of them have been combined in the human design body graph. The channels, which are going to connect the different centers, and the gates within each of the channels where energy goes in and out in each of these areas. Then you're going to want to take a look additionally, after you've generated your chart and the chart design, you're going to be able to take a look additionally at different things. There's going to be numbers and columns, and all of it's going to look really confusing in like a total foreign language. But the great part is that if you stay tuned and keep checking out these videos, you're going to figure out what all of that means and how all of it applies to you. It's going to give you specifics on how energies flow in, out, around, whether they're consistent in certain areas of your life or varying. Maybe you feel like you're super emotionally in tune with other people. We're going to find that out in your chart. Maybe it feels like you are the way you are and things are always consistent in that area. We're going to see that too in different areas. Within human design, there are 5 different types. Everybody falls into one of the 5 categories. First one is going to be called a manifestor. The next one is a generator. The third one is a hybrid manifesting generator. Next up is the projectors, and finally the reflectors. Let's talk a little bit very briefly about what each of these mean. So manifestors are the people that are going to let us know what they'd like to create, what they'd like to see, the vision that they have in the world. It's the people that maybe come up with ideas that seem completely off the wall at the time, but are actually realized. They're actually able to see that come to life. Their strategy, the way they best live in alignment, is to let people know, is to inform other people of what their ideas are. It's my belief that these ideas are coming to them from the universe as a whole. The universe knows what we need as humanity, and they're gifting these ideas to manifestors to share with the rest of us. Next up is the generators. I think that's kind of almost self-explanatory, right? Generator is the thing that's producing energy. That's exactly what generators are going to do in the world. They're the builders, they're the doers, they're the workhorses of humanity. The majority of humanity does fall into this category, and their strategy, our strategy, because I'm a generator, is to respond. So it's not necessarily that they can never come up with a good idea, but they're going to take a moment to step back, take a look at things, and then trust their gut to respond appropriately and act appropriately. They're going to respond to external stimuli to see if that's the right direction for them to go. Third, we mentioned manifesting generators. I kind of am a little bit jealous of this group of people. They're a hybrid, so they kind of have a little bit of both of the two that I've just mentioned. They're a combination of manifestors and generators. So they're multi-talented. They have a powerful energy to both initiate, but also respond and create. So they can follow the strategy of responding and with the added step of informing. So they can tell people what they want to see created in the world, and then they can go after and do it right alongside all of the other generators, which is pretty incredible. Next up is going to be the projectors. They're the ones that are the guides. You know, when you're seeing, when you go and see a movie and there's like a sage old, you know, wise wizard or something. If you're a Harry Potter fan, Dumbledore is a prime example of a projector. They are going to manage, direct, guide the energies in the world, and their strategy is to wait for an invitation. They're not necessarily running around just spouting all this wisdom off to everybody. They're going to wait until someone comes to them and asks for their advice or asks for their support or their mentorship, right? And that's how they're going to live in alignment. If they're trying to force that on everybody, they're going to experience a lot of resistance and stress in their lives. And last but not least, the rarest of all is the reflectors. They're the mirrors of society. They're super sensitive people. So for instance, if you're a parent and you're the parent of a reflector, have patience there. They are very, very sensitive. They might be your really emotional child, that kind of thing. But they're reflecting the health, they're reflecting the health of the community around them. So if a reflector is out of sorts, the community itself is most likely out of sorts. And reflectors work on a lunar cycle. So their strategy is going to be wait to respond for 28 days for a lunar cycle to occur. That's not to say they can't make a decision on like what to have for lunch. You know, they're going to starve for 27 days and then on day 28 they know they want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's not it at all. They are just going to, for major life decisions, they're going to need some patience from you. They're going to need that 28-day cycle to research, react, respond, take a look at what the options are, you know, checks and balances. They might be the ones that make lots of lists. They need to look at everything and have the time, that 28-day lunar cycle, to make a decision that they're going to feel comfortable with long term. So that's the summary of the 5 types: generators, manifesting generators, manifestors, generators, manifesting generators, projectors, and reflectors. Each type is going to have its own energy and vibration and flow, and they're going to occur differently within relationships, and then even within the types themselves, everybody's going to have their own thing to them, right? Everybody's going to have a little bit different vibe to them based on how their centers light up in their body graph chart, all the different connections and gateways and centers and everything. So even within that, there's a uniqueness to it. But when we're all living in alignment with our specific design, there's an ebb and flow to the energy of the world that's very peaceful, with less resistance and less stress to it. So we also have specific authorities for how we make decisions within human design. So we have like an inner compass for making decisions. Some people might call it your gut. Some people might call it, you know, an inner voice. Different things, when, why, how, that different ways of making choices. So we have different authorities such as emotional authority, sacral authority, splenic authority, ego, self-projected, environmental, and lunar authority. Now don't get like bogged down. That sounds like a lot. It sounds mumbo jumbo crazy. When you're looking at your body graph for the first time, there's going to be multiple centers. Depending on which ones are open or closed centers, it's going to determine what your authority is. For instance, if you're an emotional authority, it means you're a manifestor. Decisions are going to be made after riding an emotional wave and achieving clarity over time and not in the heat of the moment. They are not the people to try and put pressure on and be like, choose right now, chocolate or vanilla, what is it going to be? That's not going to work for them. They're going to get out of sorts, they're going to get emotional, they might even cry. It's just not going to vibe for them. That's not it. They need the time to come to the conclusion for themselves. A sacral authority is most generators, well, all generators have a sacral authority, as do manifesting generators. They're going to have immediate gut response to what's right and what's wrong for them. And they have to learn to trust their gut. It sounds silly, but I feel like we've, in a lot of ways, deprogrammed, even down to kids, trusting our gut. We want to overthink everything, and if we're working up here as generators instead of down here, that's not going to work for us. You're going to find that lots of generators make noises like those are gut responses. If that's what you're hearing from a generator, that is the truth coming out of them. So they really do need to start tuning in and trusting that, blocking out the noise and trusting their gut. Splenic authority is next. It's going to be just, they know it. When somebody's like, I don't know, I just know. Splenic authority all the way. They know immediately. That's just the energy of the room, boom, tells them what's right and what's wrong for them. They can make decisions at the drop of a hat, no problem, because the answer is almost like it just lights up in front of their face. Ego authorities, decisions are best made on what you truly desire and what feels right for you. It sounds egotistical, right? But when they're doing that, that's exactly how they're designed to do it. And it's going to be exactly what does work and causes the least amount of stress and resistance for them. And most likely for those around them too, because it's an answer they can really trust. Okay, self-projected authority. The truth comes out when you're talking through your decisions. So these are the people that need to sit down and talk it all out, lay all their cards out on the table. Maybe they're in a relationship and, if they feel like things are, the talk isn't flowing and they think that somebody is keeping something from them or whatever, it's not going to sit well with them. They need to lay it all out there. Some of them might be over talkers, but that's how the energies flow through them and works best for them. Environmental authority. These people, their decisions are made by accessing the environment and talking things out with those around them, with trusted advisors. They're really going to feed off the vibrations of the energies around them to make their choices. And last but not least, reflectors have a lunar authority. Again, they need that full lunar cycle to have clarity on major decisions. So with them, it's just a process of taking time, gathering information, and making their decision in a time frame that's comfortable for them. You really need to take a look at what your authority is, again, by running your chart. If you have questions after you run your chart, then definitely reach out to us so that we can set up an appointment and we can give you some clarity on this. But this isn't something you're going to have to work terribly hard at. It's how you're built. You just have to learn to trust it. I'm excited to get the opportunity to talk more with you guys about human design, the ins and outs of it, and how you can apply it in multiple ways. We're going to dive into things like your health and wellness, your career, your relationships, all the different areas that you can apply your unique human design to flourish. So stay tuned for more.